10-0 and 9 to go. The fervent battle cry of all the zany fans afflicted with Dolphin fever. Miami, the only NFL team with a perfect record, takes on the Philadelphia Eagles today and will have some poster boy rallying their cause. With passing totals pretty as a picture, quarterback Dan Marino has the Dolphins rampaging through the record book, much to the delight of their fans, and the man in charge of this year's model of perfection, head coach Don Shula. Shula was in control back in '72 when the Dolphins put together the last perfect season for any NFL team. Today, Miami faces what appears to be a less than formidable foe in the last-place Eagles. But strange things can happen on the road to immortality. Stay tuned. An apparent mismatch is about to become one of the most intriguing games of '84. From the Orange Bowl, it's the Eagles versus the Dolphins on the NFL Game of the Week. You are looking at one of the toughest defenses in pro football, the Killer Bees of the Miami Dolphins. The Eagles certainly have their work cut out for them, especially with their running game that ranked dead last in the NFL. But wonder of wonders, the Birds ran the ball right down Miami's throat on their first possession, thanks to the fine efforts of running back Wilbert Montgomery, number 31. Philadelphia moved almost exclusively on the ground, save for two key pass plays. The first was a 22-yarder from quarterback Ron Jaworski to Tony Woodruff, number 83. The second was even more profitable, a touchdown pass from Jaws to the man they call the Quick Six. All-Pro wide receiver Mike Quick picked up his 7th touchdown reception of the year, and the Eagles shockingly led 7-0. Certainly, Quick ran a great route, and his speed helped beat his man. But the pass also had to be perfectly thrown, and that's just the kind of toss Ron Jaworski served up. With it, the upset-minded Eagles got a big confidence booster. The favored Dolphins appeared to be shaken, and it showed on a series of subsequent plays. Nobody expected the 98-pound weaklings to be kicking sand in the faces of the muscle-bound Miamians. But it was happening just the same. The Dolphins took Philadelphia's kickoff and nearly gave it right back to them. Philadelphia was just beginning to make life miserable for Miami. The Eagle defensive unit isn't ranked all that high, but the thought of taking the NFL's top offense down a peg had them fired up. The Birds swarmed all over their hosts, forcing a few foul-ups along with plays that went nowhere. Miami could do nothing on their first possession, but the Eagle runners were only too happy to perpetuate their Red Grange impressions as they continued to run with surprising authority. Moving with ease, Jaworski then burned the run-conscious Dolphins with his second touchdown pass of the period, this one to Woodruff. The silence in the Orange Bowl was deafening. Who were these guys beating up on the NFL's glamour team? Maybe this was finally going to be the day the Dolphins lost their first game. Philadelphia entered the afternoon as double-digit underdogs, but they weren't playing like it. With Woodruff's score, the Birds had a stunning 14-0 lead and seemed quite ready to pull off the year's biggest upset. The Dolphins had to do something, and fast, or things were going to get out of hand. So Marino came out throwing, and for a while appeared to have Miami back on track. But plays that were sure touchdowns in other weeks became squandered opportunities this time around. Mark Clayton's drop of a certain score took the wind out of the Dolphins' sails. And then the Eagle defense sacked Marino, only the 7th time that has happened all season. Soon Philadelphia had possession again and executed a play that appeared to have them on the verge of making this game a rout. Unfortunately for the Eagles, Woodruff's 58-yard play was trimmed back by a penalty. And then the Dolphins did some yardage trimming of their own. Things finally seemed to be going Miami's way as Marino quickly moved the team into Eagle territory. But then Philadelphia pulled another rabbit out of its hat by stopping the Dolphins 4 times inside the 10 to keep the home team scoreless. The Eagles were playing their best ball of the season against the league's best and continued to pour on the pressure through most of the second period as well. Dan Marino doesn't throw many interceptions, but Philadelphia picked one of those off too, thanks to the alert play of number 24, safety Ray Ellis. It was only the Dolphin defense that kept things from getting worse as they made sure Jaworski's passing opportunities became less and less frequent. Finally, with about 3 minutes to go in the half, the Dolphins most fans are used to seeing showed up as Marino regained his touch with a flurry of crisp completions. Then, with little over a minute to go, Miami ended its longest scoring drought of 84 as Marino spotted running back Tony Nathan, number 22. The score stood at 14-7 Eagles, but that might have changed had Philadelphia tight end John Spagnuolo held on to a perfect Jaworski pass on the Eagles' next drive. Instead, it was a missed opportunity, and the half ended with a game Jaworski scrambling for a big play, but ending up with only a toss to a receiver in the wrong color jersey. Number 42, Lyle Blackwood, picked off the Eagle pass as the first half ended. The Dolphins had been thoroughly outplayed, yet were trailing by only a touchdown. Meanwhile, the Eagles were performing well above everyone's expectations, except perhaps their own. They would not be 30-minute wonders either. The second half would be even more fiercely fought than the first. And in the end, it would all come down to one play, a play neither the Eagles, Dolphins, or the fans would soon forget. 11-0, much less 19-0, was very much in jeopardy as the second half began. The Dolphins had generated little offense until their touchdown drive near the end of the first half, and that surprising trend continued early in the third quarter. The Eagles were shutting down Miami's running game and grounding the NFL's #1 aerial show. It was a truly painful experience for Dolphin receivers like Mark Duper, who through the season's first 10 weeks had roamed freely through NFL secondaries. But against Philadelphia, Duper and his mates found the turf a little tougher than usual. The Eagles, on the other hand, stayed with a controlled offense that had been so successful in the first quarter. The main weapon was the run, but this third down pass from Ron Jaworski to Mike Quick kept the Eagles' first possession of the half going. It was the only pass in an 11-play drive that featured the running of reserve fullback Michael Haddix, number 26. Haddix carried 5 times for 34 yards on the drive and helped set up this Paul McFadden field goal of 45 yards that extended the Eagles' lead to 10, 17-7. More than half of the third quarter was gone, and Dan Marino and the Dolphins' passing game had not really opened up yet. The Eagles were denying the big play, respecting the speed of Duper and Clayton. So Marino went to shorter passes. The tactic worked as the Miami quarterback gradually moved the Dolphins downfield. This sideline strike to veteran Nat Moore put the ball on the Eagles' 2-yard line. On the next play, fullback Woody Bennett, number 34, powered into the end zone for the touchdown. And the Dolphins were right back in it as the third quarter ticked away. Bennett's score completed Miami's most sustained drive of the game. Against the weak Eagles defense, the Dolphins had not been able to do much damage, yet they were within a field goal, 17-14. The Eagles' first offensive play from scrimmage following Miami's touchdown did not turn out particularly well for the guys from Philly. Cornerback Paul Langford, number 44, made a diving interception in front of Mike Quick, and Miami had the ball on Philadelphia's 26-yard line. The Dolphins would not pass up this opportunity to take the lead, but surprisingly, Marino did not go to the air to get the touchdown. Instead, he stayed on the ground, getting some tough yards from Woody Bennett, whose strong inside running got the ball to the 1, where designated touchdown scorer Pete Johnson bowled his way to his league-leading 10th rushing touchdown. It was early in the fourth quarter. The Dolphins now led for the first time in the game, 21-17. But this was too close a contest to suit Don Shula. Shula is not one to accept such things as letdowns. It didn't matter to him that the Eagles were not considered to be a worthy opponent for his mighty Dolphins. His players must still perform up to their capabilities, and they were not doing so. But Shula was soon consoled by the play of his defense as Miami finally shut down the Eagles' ground game. The Dolphins piled up Philadelphia fullback Hubie Oliver on a 3rd and 1, preventing the first down. The ball was Miami's with just over 11 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. The Dolphins' lead was only 4 points, but Shula instructed Marino to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. And the league's finest quarterback followed his coach's instructions to the letter. Tony Nathan produced the major chunk of yardage in a time-consuming 14-play drive that ended with a 27-yard field goal by Uwe von Schamann. With 4.5 minutes left to play in this interconference matchup, the Dolphins were surprisingly being severely tested, but they led 24-17. The outcome of this tightly contested game now rested in the hands of the Miami defense. They had played well in the second half. In fact, they had shut down the Eagles except for a field goal since Philadelphia's 2 quick touchdowns in the opening period. But Eagles quarterback Ron Jaworski was up to the challenge, and he guided the Eagles on a march that soon produced 2 very big plays. The first was a 4th down from the Eagles' 45-yard line. Philadelphia needed 4 yards, and Jaworski calmly drilled a bullet into the hands of tight end John Spagnola, number 88, who turned the short pass into a 17-yard gain. The second big play was the very next one, and it followed the 2-minute warning. From the Miami 38, Jaworski hit Melvin Hoover, number 85, and the rest, as they say, was history. Suddenly and dramatically, the Eagles had scored on a 38-yard touchdown pass from Jaworski to Hoover, and all that remained for the Eagles to tie the undefeated Dolphins was the extra point. You know, the automatic extra point. It was so automatic that place kicker Paul McFadden had not missed one all season until now. Defensive end Doug Betters blocked the extra point in an incredible turn of events. Victimized by a big play that put their undefeated season in jeopardy for the first time in 1984, the Dolphins unbelievably prevented the most automatic of NFL maneuvers, the extra point. For the Dolphins, the unbeaten streak continued in 1984. It was now 11 games and counting. But this 24-23 victory over a game Philadelphia Eagles team did not come easy. The Eagles played Miami tougher than any team had all season, and if the truth be told, they probably deserved to win. The fact remains, however, that the Eagles left the Orange Bowl disappointed, wondering just what does it take to defeat the good and lucky Miami Dolphins. The perfect season remains intact, although victories won't come any tougher. Final score, Miami 24, Philadelphia 23.